This is the video review of Paonmaru from Shuriken Sentai Ninninger. He is the first of the accessory mecha, where UFO Maru is the second, and he is way better than UFO Maru. We'll get to this piece of crap next time, actually. But anyway, this is Paonmaru, and he is a lovely elephant. I really like the way this thing looks. Just the green is just such a nice, relaxing, vibrant shade of green. My camera's not picking it up exactly right. It's a bit washed out, but in person it's just the most beautiful, vibrant green you've ever seen in plastic. And for the most part, the elephant mode is just really nice looking, except that you can see the robot mode head up there, but otherwise it's just a really nice elephant. Now it doesn't do too much in this mode beyond you can move the legs like this, but otherwise it's just a decent elephant. It's basically just the same as any other Zord. For example, if I take out one Maru, it's really no different than this guy just sitting there being a dude before the combination. Now, the transformation on this guy, I'm not too big of a fan of the transformation because it's a bit of parts forming, but I'm glad that he does have some kind of transformation because he does more than any individual Zord of a Shurikenjin. So to start this off, we're going to take the rear legs and we're just going to pop them off like this. We're going to straighten out the legs like this. Pop off this head and kind of neck section. Then we'll pop this off, and then the shuriken just kind of off to the side. It's something I don't like about Paonmaru, but it's also something that I don't like about the Ninninger line as a whole, just keeping track of the shuriken stuff. But it's not quite as bad with Paonmaru, and I'll get to that in a little bit. If nothing else, it does store away in the elephant mode just fine. But anyway, continuing on, we have what will be most of the body. And then we take the elephant head here, and it's going to use these little clips here to clip around this section here to form the chest. And one thing that's kind of weird about this guy is that his arms, like his shoulder and elbow and wrist, are sculpted in here, but they don't move. And then his fists are sculpted in right here, and it's just such a weird design. And so he ends up being, when you put them all together, a guy who kind of looks like he does have arms and kind of looks like he doesn't. And if nothing else, his arms aren't very useful because of how big his chest section is. So he is not the best looking robot mode as far as proportions go, but I do like the colors on him, and this is basically his robot mode. These things are more weapons. Like this is the mode that's going to sit into the chest of Shurikenjin. And these little weapons, they plug into the back like this to form shoulder-mounted rocket launchers. And what's nice about this is there's just a little bit of a wiggle here so we can lean forward. It's not just a straight ratchet that will push him back. So we can lean forward just a little bit, and this section up here is kind of heavy, so he actually ends up having pretty decent balance. So I can push him a little bit, and he will fall after a while, but it's not quite as bad as Shurikenjin. Or it's not quite as bad as a Shinobi Maru from Shurikenjin. I don't quite like how these overshadow the head so much, but it's nice that there is at least some place for him to go. There's some accounting for them. But anyway, this is Paonmaru by himself. He is just a simple little guy by himself, so there's not too much to him. Now let's get to the combination with Shurikenjin, where this guy really shines, because just by himself, he's not worth getting. He's just he's a decent elephant mode, but there's no reason to get him except as an accessory mecha. And he really is one of the best accessory mecha that I've seen in a long time. So we're going to take him, just put him off to the side, and we're going to start getting Shurikenjin ready for the combination. Okay, so to start this off, we're going to pop the head off and just put it off to the side. We're done with it for now. I'm going to take out Shinobi Maru. I'm going to turn him into an arm. I'm going to show the official combination first. Then we're going to take this off. We're going to take this arm off, and it will clip onto the back on another one of these. We'll put this arm on. And you can leave the shield on if you really want, but the instructions and the picture on the box just show all of this stuff just kind of being off to the side. So I'm not too happy about that, but there's a way around it. I'll get into it. It ends up working pretty well. And we'll take Paonmaru, take off his weapons. We need to bend the ears forward like this and put him into a seating position. And on this guy, I actually find it's not too bad to make sure that he is holding the controls. You just need to make sure the controls are angled a little bit inward when you're putting him in, and then they will just kind of naturally fall under his fists, like that. So there's Paonmaru sitting in the chest. Then we're going to come down here to these things, and these were his rear legs and the Gatling guns, or the missile launchers. And then what we're going to do is we're going to pull these out and get handles and put them into his hands, and he gets axes. Finally, we're going to take the Shuriken. We're going to take this, fold it down, which will make the head. We'll put it on. Dealing with the camera with these guys is a little bit weird because these things cover the face so much. So my normal instinct is to raise the camera up to look down to capture as much as possible in the camera, because that's the only way I can move my camera back. But I really want to make sure you guys can see the face, so if I end up moving the camera quite a bit, that's why. Just trying to make sure everything stays in shot, because these things kind of make it a little bit awkward. In fact, these little overlips over the face are also kind of awkward in person, because like, I'm just sitting normally here, and he's in front of me like he normally would be, and I can't see his face because of this lip, so I'm not too big of a fan of this on any of the Shuriken. Just another problem with the Shuriken. I don't like the Shuriken. But anyway, moving on. So this is basically what Paonmaru is supposed to do to Shurikenjin. This is a Shurikenjin Paon, and I really like the way this thing looks. And the biggest reason why is because this chest actually looks like it's a decent chest. It doesn't look incomplete. And not only that, but the green here, this vibrant green, just adds so much color to it, and it just makes... Paonmaru is what Shurikenjin was lacking, and I really like this here. Now, we do have a couple problems with this. I already mentioned that these things technically aren't supposed to be there, but you can work around a lot of this stuff. For example, one thing that I think is kind of silly is that the instructions want you to use this guy as an arm, but he is an inferior arm to the yellow arm, so we can pop this off, and then, well, actually... you don't even need to use Shinbi anymore. You can just put them off to the side. And what you have here is a complete 5 Mecha Zord or a complete 5 Mech Zord that does everything that Shurikenjin was supposed to do. And what I like to do is I like to put these into the arm like this, so that one is on the top and one is on the bottom, because it's an intimidating weapon like this, and you also get a scissor weapon like this. And I think that's kind of cool. Then we can take the sword, we can put it in here, like this. Then we can take the shield, we can put it on here, and I think this is pretty cool, just having all this here. And to make them very big and impressive and really neat looking, you can still put this guy on the back if you want, which we'll do. And then if you really want to make sure everything is put into place, you can have this, and you can pop it here. Or, if you're willing to forgo... if you're willing to forgo having the Shurikenjin Drago mode, which you really need Shinobi-Maru for, then you can just keep Shinobi-Maru and the Shuriken there just off to the side, put in storage, and just have Dump-Maru, Beyond-Maru, Wan-Maru, Dragomaru, and Paonmaru as just Shurikenjin. So you don't even think about the other stuff, just have this be your Shurikenjin. And I think that's actually the best way to enjoy this guy. Have Paonmaru replace Shurikenjin, or have Paonmaru replace Shinobi-Maru, because he really brings this guy together. And what I kind of wish that Bandai had done was, I'm going to disassemble this a little bit here. I'm going to put Dragomaru off to the side. What I kind of wish Bandai had done was, I wish this were the Shurikenjin that they sold. Because here, it's a 5 Mech Megazord. All the parts are self-contained when they're all in the individual modes, because this thing fits with Paonmaru. And if you do want Paonmaru to be in this robot mode, you can still do that, and you can still have this attached to Dump-Maru. But Dump-Maru isn't the only way to keep everything together. And then you just end up with a Megazord that is just so much better than the normal Shurikenjin, just because the chest finally works. And then Dragomaru could have been sold as one of the best accessory mecha ever, because he's already a really cool dragon. Then he could be a replacement arm to replace Shinobi-Maru, who's kind of not a great arm. I'm not too big of a fan of him. And then he would also allow Shinobi-Maru to be in the pilot seat, as worthless as I think that is, but it's just something extra to do. And then he would also unlock Shurikenjin Drago, which would just basically make him the most versatile accessory mecha of all time. If this guy were the accessory mecha and Paonmaru were a default member of Shurikenjin. I really, really wish Bandai had done that, because then I could have recommended Shurikenjin, just this guy, very easily, because I like this thing quite a bit. And I would have recommended this guy because he adds so much to the figure. So in other words, because they're still the same figures, it's just one is sold in a way that's very easy to get, which is Dragomaru, and Paonmaru is the kind of difficult one to get because you have to order it separate. They kind of switch places in practicality, so if you buy Shurikenjin, you need to get Paonmaru, and if you buy Paonmaru, you need to get Shurikenjin because he's worthless without Shurikenjin. So basically, this set here, with all 6 of these guys, is really worth getting. I mean, it's not the best Megazord of all time, like it won't replace the Super Zeo Megazord, or I don't think it's better than some of the Spatalier stuff I reviewed recently, but this is pretty good. I like this quite a bit, so yeah, that's basically my recommendation. Paonmaru is what Shurikenjin lacked, and if you get Paonmaru, Shurikenjin is suddenly going to be awesome. So anyway, I'll review Power Rangers, Digimon, Transformers, just a lot of stuff like that. If any of that sounds interesting, please subscribe, and thank you for watching.